All right, so at this point, you've probably needed eye drops because you've been staring at pieces of paper and cutting for so long, and your fingers are starting to get a little tired because of all the folding you have to do. But you've got your pieces. You've got your connectors length of 4, and you've got your whoops, sorry, wrong model. Your triangle pieces, which are made of 6. Okay. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the basic connection technique, and this is what everything else is built upon. So for this, you're going to need 2 of your gray pieces, which will be the triangles, and then 1 of your connectors. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to roll your triangles back up to actually form a triangle, like so. You'll notice something too. If possible, try to refold them in the original order that you wrap them in, if that makes sense, because if you wrap them this way, but then unfold it, and then re-roll them together this way, because of the slight discrepancy of the thickness of the paper, you'll notice it's a little harder. See right here? It's a little harder to get them back in a triangle. So if possible, if that happens to you, just roll it the other direction. That way all the pieces will fit together better, and you get 2 fairly clean triangles. Okay, and this will happen. These will tend to spring apart on you until we actually get them assembled. Okay, so hold on to them. Now, what I like to do, and there are different ways to think of this, but what I like to do is to connect 2 triangles. They're eventually going to go together side by side. They're just going to be open a little bit, but for now I'm just going to hold them like this. What you want to do is you want to take your connector, and I think of it as almost a V-shaped staple. So I hold them like this. And what you want to do is you want to take the ends of the staple, the connectors, and you're just going to thread them through the 2 large openings. Okay. One mistake my students make here is they try to thread it through in between the paper, between this gap here. You don't want to do that. It's too hard to do, and it's unnecessary. In fact, it might make things worse. You want to just thread them directly through the triangular hole. So I'm going to pop this one in here, and then this one in here. So you can see how it's going through here and not in between the slips of paper. Same thing here. You're just going to push it all the way through. Okay, so that it sticks out the other side. Okay, so here's how, if I do the side view, I just went in through here and just out the other side. All right, and then what you're going to do is this side, which will eventually be the inside of the icosahedron, acts like a hinge. So if you hinge it open, what you'll want to do is you want to fold these 2 end flaps over into the valley in between, and then just kind of close it all back up, like so. Okay, and again, for a while it's going to have a tendency to spring apart open on you. Just deal with it. Later, as you get more pieces in, the pieces start to interact with each other, and they'll hold together much better. Okay. Now, what you want to do is keep building off of this one. What we want to create is a ring of 5. If you look back at the original model, you'll notice here how you've got a ring of 5 triangles. I think that's the easiest way to start here. Anywhere you turn, you see sets of 5 triangles, and they're all kind of interlocking. Notice how like this set of 5 and then these 2 here are shared with this set of 5, so they're overlapping sets of 5. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. So what you're going to do is you're going to repeat the same process. You're going to get another gray strip. Okay, you're going to re-roll it so that it makes your triangle, holding on to it because it's going to unravel on you. You're going to put it next to any of these, either one of these triangles, like so. Okay, and then you're going to take one of your red connectors, kind of put it into a V-shaped staple shape, and you're going to thread it through. Now, here's one place where, again, a common mistake occurs. Be careful about the threading of the connectors. Okay, all the connectors should poke from what's eventually going to be the inside of your shape to the outside. So just like I did here, I want to go through this way and out here. If I do this, let me show you what an accident looks like, because this won't work right because it won't open in the correct direction. If I put the connector through the wrong side, notice how this will open up, but this one doesn't. It actually opens on the other side. So if you get something like that where the edges in between the triangles don't look the same, that's probably what's happened, is you've just threaded the connector the wrong way through. So what you want to do is just undo it and then re-thread the connectors back the right direction so that it all hinges open on the same side, and then on this side everything's remaining tight and closed. Okay? Alright, so you can see 1, 2, 3, and as I said before, we want to be achieving this ring of 5. It almost looks like a little 5-petal flower. Okay, so now just keep going in a circle. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put the next one here. So I'm going to get another triangle. Okay, I'm going to roll it up, put it next to this one, and then get one of my connectors. And I'm going to thread it through again from the inside outward, like so. Again, I'm not threading in between the gray, I'm just going straight through the triangular hole. Oops. Open it up just a little bit, fold those flaps down. Okay, and there's 4. All right, so the 5th one's going to go here. So I'm going to take another gray one, roll it up, put it right there, and then get a connector. And again, from the inside outward, thread it through. And same thing, just fold those flaps down in between. Now notice here, at this point, don't try to hold your model flat, because everything's supposed to go, if you look at this, this is 360 degrees, each one being an equilateral triangle of 60. This is obviously not going to come together if we hold it flat. Okay, so part of this is the fact that it naturally opens up to create these angles, which then closes the gap so that I only need 5 triangles to create this, as opposed to 6 where I'm basically creating a hexagon. Okay, so to get this pentagonal shape, I'm taking advantage of the fact that this thing opens up and there's other angles in between here that close up this gap at the top. Okay, so to come full circle, I'm going to need one more connector, and this is where it'll hold together a lot better. Is once you get this last one connected and you've come full circle all the way around, you get this shape that all the pieces are kind of pushing against each other, and so it's not opening up and falling apart. It's opening up just enough so that the pressure here is keeping these 2 flaps in, but it's also keeping these 2 flaps in, and there's more structure to your shape. All right, so that's how you create that. Now, the next part is, do not make the mistake of making more of these. Okay, because these are not separate rings of 5 that have been joined together. These are rings of 5 that, as I said before, are interlocked together. They share triangles. So take a look at this ring of 5 here. If I blank out the rest of it, you can see our ring of 5. Now focus on these 2 triangles here. If I turn the shape slightly, those same 2 triangles are shared with this ring of 5. So it's not 2 separate rings of 5, but 2 rings of 5 that overlap each other at this point. So now what I want to do is I want to work on that. I'm going to just pretend that I've got my ring of, not pretend, I've got my ring of 5 here. But what I'm going to pretend is that these 2 are the start of a new ring of 5. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another triangle and I'm going to try to ignore the rest of it and just focus on as if this was a brand new ring of 5. So I'll put another triangle here, connect them. And again, every time you do this, kind of mash it down a little bit so it all just kind of holds a little better, because it'll have a tendency to fall apart on you. Okay, so now I've got 1, 2, 3. Let's do the next one. Oops. Okay, now this is happening right here. Because I had to cut a lot of these, I might have not been 100% precise. So if you have some trouble fitting a triangle onto a slip, or maybe your folds are inaccurate, rather than cutting it or refolding it, what you can sometimes do is this. I cheat a little bit, and I give it a slight bend, like that. And it's paper. It's somewhat flexible, so it'll go through, and then I can fold it, and everything kind of flattens out and stretches to fit. So if that happens to you, like I said, and it's not fitting quite right, just kind of give it a little bend like this so that it narrows it enough to get it into the triangle, and then when you fold it back over, everything will just kind of flatten and stretch out a bit to accommodate the slightly larger width. Okay, so here's the original 2. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I just need a 5th one here. Now here's another option. What you can do, instead of putting the 2 triangles together, if you want to connect them this way, you can thread one side of the connector, then get a triangle and thread it onto that if you want. Okay, and there's your 5th one. So again, let it open a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get another connector. And there we go. Okay, so there's my original ring of 5. There's the 2 that I'm going to start the new ring of 5. And then here's my new ring of 5, which I just added on 3 more triangles. Alright, now I'm not going to make a video that goes through all the rest of this, but what you want to do is you just want to focus on that ring of 5 pattern. So now I just look at this and I ask myself, okay, where's another place where I can build a ring of 5? Okay, and for example, I think the last part I'll do, and then you can kind of try to work this out on your own, is I'm going to look here. These top 3, if you look and you just kind of think about only those 3, I could go 1, 2, 3, and then on top here, 4 and 5. So what I'll do is I'll add a 4th one here. You can see the 4, and then I'm going to put a 5th one in between these 2. Okay, and then to come full circle, I just need to join this 5th one to this pre-existing one here. Do that from the other side. Okay, give it a good squeeze and then let it open up. All right, so there I go. So there's the 2 new ones that I just put on here, right here. So the original ring of 5, these 2 I used to create the next ring of 5. Then on top I saw I could create another ring of 5 here and added those 2 on. Okay, so just keep going pretty much any direction you want and create more rings of 5. So just kind of turn things like, okay, here's another spot. I can create a ring of 5 right here. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 on top. Or maybe I want to do 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 here. Okay, but just consistently make those interlocking rings of 5, and eventually the shape is going to start closing in on yourself. As you can see here, even just with what I've done, you can start to see how it started to curve naturally into a ball. It no longer can even be folded flat. It actually curves in on itself, and you're starting to create that ball shape. Okay? All right, so keep going. The next video is going to talk a little bit about one more common mistake that you might see. And then the last video, we'll talk about how to work the last pieces in when you're running out of room for your fingers to get even a piece on there. Okay?